because Blake Lively and Wayfair Studios, that is Justin Baldoni's production company, they have officially settled their lawsuit.
Imagine opening TikTok for a quick 5-minute scroll, and suddenly, the internet is dissecting a 2011 clip like it's the Zapruder film. Because out of nowhere, a resurfaced video of Reese Witherspoon has people pausing frame by frame, rewinding, and saying, "Wait, was she trying to warn us?" The timing couldn't be messier. What was once brushed off as a throwaway Hollywood moment is now being treated like a celebrity prophecy that aged a little too well. So grab your snacks. This rabbit hole goes deep. The clip everyone is talking about. Here's the thing about this viral moment. Nobody's actually explaining what they're reacting to before they react to it. You open TikTok and you see the comments first. Thousands of them. She knew. This did not age the way she expected. The prophecy was right there. I am not okay. The stitches are flying. The duets are multiplying. Everyone is losing their minds over this clip. This specific 14-year-old clip of Reese Witherspoon saying something that, apparently, means everything now. But here's what almost nobody is stopping to ask. Who are these two women really? What's the actual history here? Because you cannot understand why this moment landed like a bomb without first understanding the two people at the center of it, what they've built, who they are, and why the internet decided their stories were always connected. So before we get to the clip, before we get to the controversy, before we get to any of it, let's go back to the beginning. Who exactly is Reese Witherspoon? And why does what she says carry so much weight? Reese Witherspoon, America's sweetheart with an edge. If you had to pick one word for Reese Witherspoon's public persona, it would probably be wholesome. And then immediately after that, you'd pick formidable. Reese broke out in the late 90s and never really stopped. Legally Blonde in 2001 made her a cultural icon. Elle Woods became one of the most beloved characters in modern cinema, a character so perfectly written and performed that people are still quoting her 2 decades later. Then came Walk the Line and a Best Actress Oscar. Then Big Little Lies, which she produced and starred in, reminding the industry that she wasn't just a face. She was a serious player with serious taste and the business instincts to match. She built Hello Sunshine, a media company that sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. She turned her book club into a cultural force. She is, by almost every measure, one of the most influential women in Hollywood, not just as a performer, but as a brand, a businesswoman, and a tastemaker. She is also, and this is important for what comes next, someone who has always known exactly what she's doing in front of a microphone. Which brings us to 2011, the MTV Movie Awards. A stage full of energy, a crowd primed for jokes, and Reese Witherspoon at the mic with an acceptance speech that, at the time, seemed like nothing more than a sharp, funny Hollywood moment. She joked, she riffed, she was quick, she was charming, and then she said something that, in 2011, got a laugh and a few raised eyebrows, and then completely disappeared into the archive. Something that, in 2025, the internet decided was a message. We'll get to exactly what she said. But first, you need to understand who she was talking about. Because in 2011, one name was all over the tabloids, and it wasn't Reese's. Blake Lively, the it girl with a complicated year. If Reese Witherspoon is old Hollywood Polish, Blake Lively is something different. She's the girl who made effortlessness look like an art form. Blake exploded onto the cultural radar with Gossip Girl starting in 2007, playing Serena van der Woodsen, the luminous, charismatic socialite that half the world wanted to be and the other half wanted to know. She had the kind of screen presence that cameras just loved. Tall, impossibly golden, with a smile that read as both approachable and untouchable. By the early 2010s, she was everywhere. Major film roles, front row at Fashion Week, paparazzi bait in all the best ways. She married Ryan Reynolds in 2012. She started a lifestyle brand. She was, by all public appearances, living a charmed, glittering life. But 2011 was a complicated year for Blake Lively. That year, she found herself tied to a nude photo controversy that spread rapidly across gossip blogs and entertainment sites. The details were messy and disputed from the start. Blake came out and flatly denied it. She said the images were not real, that they were fake, that she had nothing to do with them. And to be absolutely clear, her denial matters. There was no verified proof against her. The story was murky, contested, and Blake maintained her position firmly. But the tabloids? They didn't care much about contested or murky. The story was out there, loudly, and the media ate it up regardless, because this is Hollywood, and a story like that, about a woman like Blake at the peak of her it-girl moment, was simply too irresistible to leave alone. So that was Blake's 2011. A year when her name was in everyone's mouth for all the wrong reasons, when she was defending herself against a story she denied entirely, when the whole machine of celebrity gossip was pointed directly at her. And now, we can finally get to what Reese said. Because here's where the timeline gets very, very interesting. The speech and why 2011 changes everything. Same year, same Hollywood moment. Two women who moved in the same elite circles, at the same awards ceremonies, photographed at the same events. And at the MTV Movie Awards in 2011, the same year Blake Lively was fighting off a nude photo controversy she flatly denied, Reese Witherspoon walked up to the stage to accept an award, leaned into the mic, and delivered what everyone in that room took as a joke. She made a comment about private tapes. She riffed on the culture of celebrity oversharing. And then, here it is, the line that has since broken the internet. She looked out at that audience and said, "Hide your face," specifically directed at people who take nude cell phone photos. In 2011, the room laughed. A few eyebrows went up. The coverage the next day treated it as a cheeky, slightly edgy acceptance speech moment. Very on-brand for the MTV stage, where nothing is too much. Nobody in that room, as far as any contemporaneous report suggests, interpreted it as a dig at any specific person. It was a joke. People moved on. And then, 14 years passed. And then, someone, bless their chaotic soul, dug that clip out of the archive, posted it to TikTok, and placed it side by side with the story of Blake Lively's 2011 controversy. The internet didn't just connect the dots, it detonated. Suddenly, the framing wasn't Reese made a joke. The framing was Reese Witherspoon publicly issued a warning to Blake Lively in front of millions of people. And we all missed it. Creator after creator stitched the clip with their own commentary. The hashtags exploded. The comment sections went completely unhinged in the best possible way. Millions of views, people pausing, rewinding, watching it again with new eyes. Now, to be completely clear, because this matters, there is no evidence that Reese was specifically talking about Blake in that speech. None. The remarks were made in a general context, on a night full of jokes and pop culture riffs. At the time, nobody interpreted it as targeted. The 2011 coverage did not connect those dots. But the TikTok machine doesn't run on evidence. It runs on vibes. And the vibes here? Immaculate. So why is a 14-year-old clip going viral right now, in 2025 of all years? What changed? The timing. Why now? This is honestly one of the most interesting parts of the whole story, because the timing of this resurgence is not accidental, not even a little. Blake Lively has been at the center of enormous public scrutiny recently. If you've been following entertainment news at all, you know that Blake's public image has taken significant hits over the past couple of years. Between reported controversies surrounding press appearances, legal disputes, and allegations involving people in her professional circle, and a very loud public discourse about her conduct, Blake has become one of the most polarizing figures in Hollywood. Some of those claims are disputed, and some involve ongoing proceedings, so we're keeping it high level here. But the volume of conversation around her has been deafening. And here's what the internet does when someone is already in the crosshairs of public opinion. It goes to the archive. Old interviews get clipped and recontextualized. Old photos get re-examined for hidden meaning. Old speeches, even ones from 2011, suddenly get a brand new audience and a brand new frame. It's not that the Reese clip got more damning over time, it's that the frame around Blake changed. Reese's words didn't change. The cultural lens through which people were watching changed everything. TikTok's algorithm is extraordinarily good at surfacing content that matches whatever emotional wave people are riding. Right now, people are on a very specific wave when it comes to Blake Lively. So a creator who posts that 2011 Reese clip with the caption, "She was trying to warn us," gets rewarded. Views, comments, shares, a spot on every For You page. The algorithm doesn't ask whether the connection is proven. It asks whether it's compelling. And this is compelling. But is there actually anything real underneath all of this? What have the people closest to these women actually been saying? Now look, we promised you tea, so here it is. But we're going to serve it with full transparency about the cup it came in. Over the years, tabloids have published a steady stream of stories about supposed tension between Reese and Blake. The pattern is always the same. A headline like, "Insiders say Reese is concerned about Blake's behavior," or "A source close to the situation claims there's been a falling out." The language is always vague. The sourcing is always anonymous. The details are always just specific enough to feel credible without being checkable. The recurring themes across these reports, attributed always to unnamed insiders, have included claims of professional rivalry, suggestions that Reese has privately expressed concerns about Blake's public conduct, and speculation that whatever warmth existed between them has significantly cooled. Outlets like Radar Online have run multiple versions of this story over the years, always leaning on unnamed sourcing. And here's what you need to know about anonymous insider gossip in Hollywood. It is a notoriously unreliable genre. Publicists plant stories. PR teams weaponize gossip columns. Real sources get things wrong. People with axes to grind feed reporters' narratives designed to damage someone. And sometimes, let's be honest, outlets just fill space. Here's the cold, hard truth. There is no confirmed, on-the-record feud between Reese Witherspoon and Blake Lively. Not one. No public statement from either of them. No interview where the subtext screamed. No stormed off set. No pointed sub-tweet. No thinly veiled anything. The kind of concrete, verifiable moment that would let you point at a screen and say, "There, that's the proof." It does not exist publicly. What exists is the mountain of anonymous reports we just described. A feud narrative never confirmed by either party, never documented in any on-the-record statement. Does that mean the tension isn't real? Not necessarily. Reese and Blake have orbited the same elite tier of Hollywood for years. Same industry, same circles, same world where everyone knows everyone and professional stakes are permanently high. In environments like that, tension doesn't need a dramatic origin story. It accumulates in quiet moments, in things unsaid, in rooms where the temperature drops slightly when two people are placed near each other. That kind of friction can be completely real and completely unconfirmable at the same time. But might be real and is confirmed are very different things. And anyone building their entire understanding of this dynamic on anonymous tabloid sourcing should hold it loosely. What is undeniable is how completely the 2011 clip collapsed all of that nuance. People who were previously sitting at "we don't really know" watched that clip and went, "See, I knew it." A 14-year-old joke became retroactive proof for a theory that never had a solid foundation. That's the power of video. That's the power of a well-timed edit. That's the internet in 2025. So what does all of this actually mean? For Reese, for Blake, and for where they both stand right now? What this means for both of them. Let's talk about optics, because in Hollywood, optics are basically the whole game. For Reese Witherspoon, this viral moment is, somewhat ironically, working entirely in her favor. She didn't do anything. She gave a speech 14 years ago and went home. She wasn't involved in the resurfacing. She hasn't commented. She has simply existed. And the internet has decided to make her a prophet. Comments under the clip are full of "she knew," "queen behavior," "she was speaking her truth in 2011. Whether Reese intended any of it as a dig at Blake or not, and there's no evidence she did, the internet has cast her as the hero of this story. That's a very comfortable place to be. For Blake, it's considerably more complicated. This clip isn't landing in a vacuum. It's arriving in the middle of one of the most difficult public stretches of her career, adding yet another piece of content to a pile of narratives that are already painting her in an unflattering light. Every recontextualized clip, every resurfaced moment, every new "she warned us" video adds another brick to a wall of public skepticism that's already quite tall. Blake has not publicly responded to any of it, which is almost certainly the right call. Responding would amplify it. Ignoring it at least gives the cycle a chance to exhaust itself. Though in the age of TikTok, exhausting itself is not guaranteed. Content gets archived. It gets resurfaced. 6 months from now, someone will stitch that clip again with a completely new frame, and the whole thing will restart. What both women's teams are almost certainly doing right now is watching very carefully and saying nothing publicly. That's crisis communications 101. Stay quiet. Don't feed the beast. Wait for the news cycle to move. The problem is the news cycle no longer really moves in a straight line. It spirals. And what does all of this say about us, the people watching, reposting, and dissecting every frame? The bigger picture and the actual verdict. Let's take one step back before we land this, because there's something worth naming in why this story hits so hard. Why a 14-year-old joke about nude photos can trend globally in 2025. Why we are all, collectively, so deeply invested in whether or not Reese Witherspoon likes Blake Lively. Part of it is pure human wiring. We evolved in small social groups where tracking alliances, rivalries, and tensions between high-status individuals was genuinely useful information. Celebrity gossip scratches exactly that itch. Social drama at scale, with high stakes for the people involved and zero stakes for us. All the thrill, none of the consequences. But there's something more specific happening with female celebrity feuds specifically, and it's worth sitting with. Stories about two powerful women who supposedly don't get along are everywhere in popular culture, consumed with a particular enthusiasm that goes beyond general gossip interest. The cultural appetite for watching women compete, undermine, or warn each other says something about what narratives we're primed to believe, about which stories feel satisfying in ways that are worth examining honestly. Sometimes those stories are true. Sometimes two people genuinely don't get along. But sometimes they get amplified and turned into viral content, not because they reflect reality, but because they confirm something people already wanted to believe. That successful women are secretly at war. That the smiles are performance. That behind the scenes, everyone's keeping score. The Reese and Blake story might be a real feud. It might be nothing. It might be somewhere complicated in between. But it went viral not because of what we know. It went viral because of what the narrative feels like. And now, the verdict. Here's what is 100% verified. On the record, documented. In 2011, Reese Witherspoon gave a speech at the MTV Movie Awards and told people who take nude cell phone photos to hide your face. That happened. It's real. Widely covered at the time. In 2011, Blake Lively was tied to a nude photo controversy. Images she denied were authentic, also documented by contemporaneous reporting. In 2025, someone paired those two things on TikTok, and the internet did the rest. Millions of views. Countless creators interpreting it as a warning, a reading that is their framing, not a proven fact. Here is what is not verified. That Reese was talking about Blake. That they have an ongoing personal feud. That the chilling warning reflects any intent on Reese's part whatsoever. The feud narrative is built entirely on anonymous sourcing, unconfirmed by either party, undocumented in any on-the-record statement. A real clip, a new frame, an algorithm built to reward what's compelling over what's confirmed. And suddenly, a laugh line from 2011 becomes a chilling warning. That's not a criticism of anyone who watched it or shared it. It's just the world we live in now. And honestly, even knowing all of that, it's still fascinating. Maybe more so. So here's where we land. Reese Witherspoon's 2011 MTV speech is real. Blake Lively's 2011 controversy is real. The internet's decision to connect them 14 years later? Absolutely unhinged and completely compelling. Is this a confirmed feud? No. Is it verified shade? Nope. Is it a perfect storm of timing, context, and algorithm energy that produced one of the most entertaining pieces of celebrity drama in recent memory? 100% yes. Drop a comment below. Do you think Reese was sending a message? Or is this just TikTok doing what TikTok does best? Subscribe if you want more tea. I'll see you in the next one.